Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. It is Erica with Holy Rustic and Redheaded Princess Designs. Today we are going to paint one of our brand new interchangeables. It is a window box interchangeable, and I have a brand new honeybee insert to go with it. So we just posted this on the website this past week. It is one of our new kits, and we posted it with a springtime birdhouse insert, but I have a honeybee insert for us to paint together, and then we'll get that listed on the website. So come in, say hello, let me know how your Tuesday is going. I hope that you are staying safe and dry wherever you are. We've had some crazy flooding around here, and the river is still rising. So, all right, so let's get started. We are going to start with our window box piece. So I'm actually going to move this. There we go. I tend to paint pretty close to this end of the table, so I'm going to make sure I've got this edge in the screen. Let me know if you're here. Say hey. So for your window box, you've got lots of pieces here, but let's look at what we actually need to paint because we don't have to paint all of these. There are some directions on here. So this one tells you glue to A. This one is the front plate, which we're going to need to paint that. This is A here. And then you've got these pieces. And this is the back. It says back on there. So that's going to be our back piece. And then these pieces are going to go on the front. We don't need that many. Why did I cut so many? I think we only need 2 of those. And then we'll glue this here, and we've got our little trim pieces. So we're going to start. We don't need to paint any of these middle pieces. These are just to create the insert section where that is going to live. And if you look here, we can just barely see around these window edges. So we don't have to paint this whole back piece either. We can just paint a little bit around the windows. And I'm actually going to paint this one black. I did a white one before. But I think this one will look really cute with the black, with the honeybee insert. We do have our new kits. Anything that is in the new kit category, anything that we released this past week, they are on sale right now. So you can go grab those. I do believe today is the last day for that sale. So go get those while they're on sale. They're 30% off. If you look in your email or here on our Facebook page, you will see that coupon code. If you're not on our email list, I highly encourage you to pop over to holyrustic.com and get on that email list because that is how you hear about all of our sales and coupons and new kits that are coming out and all that fun stuff. So make sure that you're on that email list, and then make sure you hit that subscribe or whatever button inside of your email box so that those don't get put in your spam and you don't miss out. Okay, so since just that little bit is showing, I don't have to paint this whole thing. I'm just going to paint that little bit. And then we're going to grab our piece that is labeled A, and we're going to base coat this with the black as well. Our brand new craft kit of the month box opened up this past week, and so that is going really well. We have lots of people who have already joined that club box. That will be shipping out starting the 15th. So if you haven't joined that yet, I encourage you to go check that out. If you're somebody who loves the video tutorials, the step-by-step directions, that is the perfect little gift to yourself, because inside of your box you're going to get one new wood craft kit each month. They will be exclusive to the box, so they will not be released on the website for at least a year. You're going to get a 20% off coupon that you can use on anything on our website and any of our kits, and you're going to get the video instructions and a set of written directions step by step that you can use to paint up that kit. That way you don't have to wait around for me to come on here and do a video. When you get your box in the mail, you'll have the link to everything, and you can just go ahead and craft away whenever you have the time. I love those boxes because I just think it's a great way to take a little time for yourself each month, a little quiet time, and make something pretty that you can put in your home. All right, so I've got that base coated with the black. I'm going to move that over to the side. We need to paint this front plate. This is where our pieces slide in and out. So we're going to paint this up as well. I know sometimes these kits can be a little intimidating because there's so many pieces and it's hard to know where to start, which is why we love doing these videos for you. But it is absolutely impossible for me to do a video for every single kit that we have. So that's why the Craft Kit of the Month box is such a great value, because you're going to get that video with your box. And it's only $30 right now. We're doing special introductory price since it's brand new. We're doing a special introductory price, and it is only $30. It will be going up more towards the end of the month, but for right now, you can grab it at that special introductory price. All right, these are our little window trim pieces. So we're going to paint those all black as well. There should be 4 of them. Here they are. 4 little window trim pieces. You could do this window in white. You could do it in a pink or a blue. You could do it in a brown, whatever color you want. I would suggest a neutral color, just so that it doesn't matter which kit you're throwing in it, it'll still match. But if you are feeling fancy, you could get real creative with the color here. I'm going to go with just a black today. I did the other one that I had in a white, and I actually sold it at my last craft show, which is why I need another one. All right, and then these are our little scallopy pieces that go on the front. So we're going to base coat those in black. This is super easy. And then I will show you how this all goes together. We've had a couple people already order the new window interchangeable. I just love having interchangeables because it's a nice little staple piece to have setting out as my decor. And then when I pull out like my Easter decor or whatever out of the basement, I've got a tote and all my little interchangeable pieces are inside of there, and I can just pull out the ones I need for the season and pop them up. And then there's less to have to store for the season. And it's quick and easy to throw up some new fun decor. This month's Tier Trade boxes and Wagon Club boxes we're prepping those today. So they will start being mailed out soon. We always say they'll go out by the 15th, but I'm hoping to start getting some of those out today. If your payment's already drafted, you might get that notice today or possibly later this week that your box is being shipped. So they're going to go out just a little early this month. Just going to give everything a good dry here. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about our brand new Craft Kit of the Month Club. Good morning, Opal. Opal, I'm going to see you tonight, right? How are you holding up with all the flooding? You doing okay? Hopefully your yard has started to go down a little bit. Guys, it has been, if you're not in the southern Indiana, Louisville area, it's been a little crazy around here. It seems like last week was like the longest week of our lives, and it's not over yet. Started on Wednesday with bad storms, tornadoes, and just really, really bad weather. And then it rained from Wednesday until Sunday, pretty much nonstop. See you tonight, Opal. Have a great day at work. Pretty much nonstop. It just poured. And we have water everywhere. The river, the Ohio River, is the highest it's been in like 10 years. They've put all the flood walls up. They are evacuating people. Like, it breaks my heart. So if you have been affected by the flooding here, or even, I know Tennessee's had some problems too, anywhere, my heart goes out to you. And if there's anything you need, let us know, because it's just devastating, honestly. I cannot imagine. We had Wednesday with the storms. I had a small issue in our shop out back. My shop is in the garage at my house, and it floods usually anyway. But so I knew it was going to happen, and I had gone out there Wednesday during the day and kind of picked stuff up off the ground and just kind of made sure everything was as good as it could be, because I knew that water was going to come in, but there was a lot of water. And it was a little crazy. I spent yesterday kind of trying to dry stuff out, and I think it's finally starting to dry. It was smelling very moldy out there yesterday. I do not like this. All right. I've got this pretty much dry. It's a little damp in some places. I'm going to brush just a little bit of white on here. So I've taken my brush and I've gotten just a tiny bit of white paint on there. I did try to dry it off as much as possible. And the trick to the dry brushing is you want to do just a little bit of paint at a time. You don't need very much. It is easier to put it on a little bit at a time rather than have to come back and try to take some off. So we're just going to barely brush some white, and I'm just kind of following those window panes. I got kind of a lot there. We'll see how that looks. Might go over that. Now my little interchangeable pieces are coming down here, so I'm not as worried about those. I don't love this little line that I just did, so I'm going to grab just a little bit of black and kind of go back over that. Okay, I kind of like that. That looks pretty good. I don't want to do too much, but I just want to give it a little bit of a weathered look here. Okay, yes, I like that. All right, let's look at our picture here. Maybe I don't need these long pieces. Oh, no, I know where they go. Okay, I know where they go. I was thinking these went around the window frame, but they don't. So you do not need to paint these 4 sticks here that I painted. We don't need to do that. Okay, so let's grab some glue. See if we can get this one open. We're going to need a decent amount of glue. So we always send E6000 in all of our kits. It is not a quick dry glue. It does have a dry time. So you're going to want to let everything lay flat for 24 hours before you set it up. I am looking for, there it is, a stabby piece. Here we go. Like this glue is dry right here at the top, so we just need to get this cleaned out so we can use it. Let's see if that worked. Nope. Which reminds me I gotta get glue together for tonight. Tonight we are painting our bunny butt palette door hangers at Chiavelli's Pizzeria. That is our class for the week. Tomorrow night I have a private party, and then I think I've got another private event on Sunday. So if you're looking for something fun to do with friends or family and you're local, we do have private events if you want to host an event in your house, or a lot of times you can do it even at a local restaurant, or if you've got like a church group or whatever, we can do it with them as well. All right, let's see if we can get some glue out here. We need to glue this piece that is labeled A to the piece that is labeled the back. And this glue, I think once I get it, there we go. Once we get it out, it will be okay, but right now it doesn't want to come out. All right, so we're gluing this down. I always say just run this right along the edge of the wood, like you're putting on chapstick or lipstick, because you don't want a bunch of glue seeping out from underneath And honestly, this is it's got a pretty good hold. So a little bit will do you. All right, so we're gluing the piece that is labeled the letter A to the piece that is labeled the back, just like so. And they should just line up perfectly all the way around. Okay, so we've got our little windows. Then we're going to take this piece that says glue to A. We're going to glue that to A. I love that the designer labeled these for us because it makes it so much easier to try to figure out what goes where. Okay, and we're just lining that up at the bottom and on the sides. Then you have two of these pieces. This is what makes your shelf, so to make these interchangeable. So we're going to glue these together to this piece here that says glue to A. So they're going to go like this. We're just making like a big old stack of wood here. This just makes it easier. You probably could do with just those two, but I like to have a little bit extra room just in case. Sometimes when we paint things that are interchangeable, we get too much paint on the piece that slides in and out, and it's hard to put it in and out. So if we glue all these together, we give ourselves just a little extra wiggle room. All right, so I'm just making sure all those are lined up and they look pretty good. And then this piece is labeled front plate, and we're going to glue that to the front of here. Okay, just like so. Making sure we're all lined up. Looks pretty good. All right, now these sticks that we painted, that I said I forgot that we did not need to paint them. We're going to glue those to, there's two little lines etched in here, and you're actually covering that word that says front plate, so we won't be able to see that anymore. So don't worry about that. It's going to be covered. We're going to put 1, 2, and then we're going to make a sandwich out of these as well. So we're going to put another one on top of each one of these. Just need a little bit of glue. Like so. And like so. If you're having a hard time with your pieces, you can take a clamp and kind of clamp all this together, or even a little bit of tape and just tape it down so that they don't move on you while they're drying. These seem to be okay. All right, then we have our little scallopy edge pieces, and they're going to go just like this with the scallops facing each other. Okay, so there is one, and here is the other. So there's really not much to paint on this piece. You're just gluing a lot of them together. So we glued the back to piece A, and then there's the little insert piece that gets glued to that. You stack those other inserts up, you put the front plate on, and then those little sticks, you put 2 on each side and then the scallopy edge on top. And I am just going to tape this down, maybe. Let's see if we've got some tape here that we can use. Just going to kind of wrap this tape around just to kind of hold this a little bit. It's not going to do a whole lot for me, but it will just kind of hold everything in place while it's drying. Double check to make sure everything is lined up correctly and that we're fairly straight. You do want to make sure that these pieces here on top of your front plate aren't pushed too close together, because that's where one of our interchangeable pieces slides in and out. I probably should have put this together with super glue so that I can show you guys that, but it's okay. Hopefully by the time we're done painting, this will be somewhat dry. Okay, and then remember, you're going to let everything that you glue with E6000, you're going to let lay flat for 24 hours. It's got to lay flat. 24 hours. All right. We're going to set her over there, and we're going to work on our little bumblebee pieces. So we have our window interchangeable pieces come with an insert that sits inside the window, and then a little plate that slides in and out. So this one says Sweet as Honey. We're going to paint it black. And then 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 we're going to paint This one is not on the website yet, but when I get done, when it's all dry, I will get a picture taken and we'll get it posted to the website. Right now there is the, it says something about spring, and it has little birdhouses on it. And then we'll be adding new pieces for this window for all the seasons and things. All the seasons. The thing I love about like the bees and our new strawberry stuff is it's pretty, while it's springy, it's also summery. So you don't have to worry about changing it out all the time. You could put it up and leave it for till fall. Or past fall, if you want it. I always have so much fall decor that I usually don't leave stuff much past fall. All right, so there's our sweetest honey. We're going to set that to the side and let that dry. And we're going to grab this piece here. I have glue on my fingers. All right, on this side we have a little honey pot. Then we have our little beehive and a little honeycomb that says Home Sweet Home. So we're going to do the honeycomb in a white. I do not want to push a bunch of paint down into those little honeycomb pieces because I want those to really show. So I'm going to take a sponge. We send a makeup sponge in all of our kits. And I always use the rectangle end of the makeup sponge. And I just get a tiny bit of paint on there. Just kind of tap it off on the side. And then if you just go straight up and down, you can go over any of your pieces that have lines etched in them or words etched in them that you don't want to fill with paint and you want to be able to see. This is a great technique for painting those things because it keeps you from pushing a bunch of paint down into those spaces. If I came in here with a paintbrush and I was dragging the paint back and forth across here, I would push paint down into these little bitty etched lines, and then my design, the honeycomb, would not be as visible. So by using the sponge and just tapping across the top, I am just barely adding a coat of paint, and I'm keeping myself from pushing a bunch of paint down in the lines. You do need to make sure there's not very much paint on your sponge, or wherever you tap the first time, you're going to end up with a bunch of paint that's going to go down into your little lines. So just kind of offload it over on the side. Just kind of tap it a few times so that there's not a ton of paint on your sponge. And then you can do several light coats. The wood soaks up the paint pretty quickly, so it doesn't take very long for it to dry. So there's that. Over here we have our little honey pot. Let's do that in like a light yellow. So I'm going to grab a little bit of yellow on my sponge with that white that I already have. And we're going to paint this little honey pot. Kind of this golden-y color. This bottom is going to go down into our window, so I am not worried about that as much. I am putting a little bit of paint down there just to make sure that I've got coverage in case part of it shows, but it should not, and I should be okay. We're going to go ahead and drag this white just across the bottom here. I'm going to put my little beehive on there in a moment, but I just want to be sure we have everything covered underneath so that when I put this in the window frame, it doesn't show. All right, that should be far enough up. I picked up a little bit of black, but I'm okay with that. It's going to be fine. Okay. I might go over this one more time. I was looking to see if I had more of a golden yellow. I don't see one in here. Not sure if I love this color. I think it'll be okay. Let's give it another coat because it definitely needs it. So a little, oh, there we go. All right, I like that better. That's a nice coverage. Okay, so there's our little base part there. We're gonna set that over to the side. We've got our Home Sweet Home. I think we'll do the words here in black. just so they pop. So I've got little pieces of sponges here. What I do is when this dries, I'll take my scissors and clip it so I can use this until I have nothing left. And so sometimes I end up with these little bitty pieces, and I can use these to paint things as well, the same way that I use the bigger piece of sponge. Waste not, want not, right? I use all those little pieces. So you can use that sponge for many, many different colors. Because we're not dipping the whole thing into the paint and we're just barely getting paint on the end of the sponge, then you can just clip it with your scissors and just keep using it until you're done. All right, there's that. We're going to paint these little baby bees with this black as well. There are 2 of them. And then I think we will paint this bee with our black also. He's a little fragile, so I gotta paint him carefully. There we go. All right. Trying to decide what color I want to do the label for the honey pot. I think we'll do it in a gray. So I'm just gonna grab a little bit of white here with my black, and we'll just paint this little label in with our gray. I actually want it to be a little bit lighter than that even, because I want to put my little bumblebee on here, so I want him to pop. Tonight's class is full, but we do have space still next week. We have a class at, where are we next week? We have a class at Our Lady Perpetual Hops. It is an Easter door hanger. We have a class at Hunter Station. That's our kids' Easter class. Still have a few spaces left for that one. And we have a class, maybe it next week. I felt like there was more, but that may be it next week. And then our Derby door hanger class with the Clarksville Parks Department is coming up. I think there's a few spots left in that one, not very many. And we've also had a few classes coming up at Our Lady, or at 812 Pizza and Bear City Winery. So if you're local, go check out our class schedule and see which ones you want to come do, because it does make for a fun little night out and just a good chance to do something fun and creative. You can bring friends, you can come alone, either way. All right, that's my little bees' wings. So I just gave those a little coat of white, and I'm going to paint these flowers white as well. There's really not a ton of colors to this one. Don't forget, because our videos are no longer staying on Facebook forever, we have moved them over to our YouTube channel. So you can find us on YouTube and subscribe to our channel. You'll be able to see all of our past videos there. So if you're ordering a kit and you like the videos, you can go back and look and see which ones have the instructional videos. And that way you have something to follow along with. Or maybe you're just looking for some tips and tricks. A lot of times I throw out some little golden nuggets here and there as we're painting. All right, let's do the top of this jar in a brown. This is our little honey jar. And I'm going to take, where'd that black go? That's not it. I lost it. Oh, here it is. I'm going to take a little bit of that black, well, it's kind of gray now, and just kind of run it along the edge of this little jar here, just to give us a little bit of a shadow. A little bit of dimension. Okay. Then we've got our little beehive. This piece definitely needs to be black. It's the little door for our hive. So we're going to paint that with our black. You can tell I just save all these little scraps of sponges here, and then as I need them, I've got a little piece here and there to use. Works really well when you have a kit that has lots of different colors and you need just a little bit of a sponge for, you know, something smaller. All right, I went back over this this piece here with just a little black around the edges too. I have to remember to work closer that way and not so close towards me. Okay, I'm gonna grab a little bit of yellow and we're gonna do our honey hive here. I'm going to do the whole thing in yellow, and then I'm going to show you how to do a little bit of shading and highlighting to give this just a smidge of dimension. Shading and highlighting are always extra steps and completely not necessary. I do find that that's something that a lot of painters struggle with because it's hard to know when to stop or when to keep going. Oftentimes people either blend too much or not enough. And I always say it's like Goldilocks. There's like a fine line between the two where you have to get it just right. So we're going to switch to a paintbrush here. We're going to pick up a little bit of that khaki brown that we have, and I'm going to come right along these lines, which would be the bottom of each of these little chunks of our beehive piece here. Okay. So I'm just doing a swipe of brown along the bottom. Now, if you're a slower painter, you may want to do this one section at a time because you want to work quickly when you're shading and highlighting so that your paint stays damp. I'm going to wipe my brush off. I'm going to come back with a little bit of that yellow. And I'm just going to come right up next to my brown and just kind of go over top of it. I don't have very much paint on my brush, because the key here is to really not to put a ton of paint on, but to just blend what is already there. And we just want the slightest bit of a shadow at the bottom of each one of these little honey hive pieces. And as you're putting on paint, if your paint has started to dry, the fresh paint kind of reactivates the paint underneath and helps it blend together. Okay, I feel like I lost that bottom one, so I'm going to come back in with just a little bit of brown. And I'm just keeping it right there in that one spot. I'm not coming too far up because I really want my shadow to stay right at the bottom. So I'm only working in that one little section. And I'm not overworking it either. That's why I say it's like Goldilocks. It's got to be just right. We're going to wipe that brush off. We're going to pick up a tiny bit of white. And kind of in the middle of each one of these sections, I'm going to brush just a little bit of white. I'm going to just do 3 at a time this time. And then I just come back and forth over top that white without adding any more paint, blending it with what is already there. This top piece would probably have a little more light on it. So we're going to bring that highlight all the way up to the top. Okay, so take just a tiny bit of white, come over the middle of that section, and then without adding any more paint, just go back and forth over top of it. You can come in even with just a damp brush. The water helps reactivate the paint as well. And then you just get this nice little blend. So now our honey hive went from looking really, really flat and one color to having these nice little highlights and shadows and giving it more dimension. Totally extra step, not necessary, but it does kind of just make things pop a little bit more. All right, we've got our sweet as honey that we need to paint. I think I'm going to do this in that yellow as well. This is going down at the bottom on top of our black piece. So I think the yellow will look nice and it'll draw some of that yellow down to the bottom of our decor. My goal today, I've got some orders cut that I've got to get out today, and then I've got to get everything prepped for class tonight and tomorrow. I have a mural that I need to go paint tomorrow morning, so I'm trying to get as much done today so that I have my time tomorrow morning to go work on that before I go teach class tomorrow night. All right, sometimes yellow needs 2 coats, but I feel like this is covering pretty well. So I think we're good there. Let's pull this black piece over. I want to do a little splatter on this just for fun. So we're going to grab a piece of paper over here. Just kind of lay this down and cover all that up so that we don't get too crazy. And then I'm going to find my fan brush, which I thought was right here. And I don't see it. Wonder where it is. Thought it was here in the water. But it's definitely not in there. Oh, no, it is. It's right there. It's hiding. It was hiding. Okay. So I like to do splatters with my fan brush. I think it just disperses the paint a little bit easier. You're going to get your paint, whatever color you want to splatter, get it really, really damp. So we're just adding a little bit of water to the side of our white here and getting a nice liquid white. And then you don't want a ton of paint on your brush because you'll end up with really big splatters. And I want kind of smaller splatters. I'm going to hold this a little further away. Move anything that doesn't need to be splattered because trust me, everything is going to get splattered. And then I just barely tap that brush. The trick here is to give yourself enough movement in the handle of your brush that you're going to get that vibration. And we've got our nice little splatter. Perfect. Let's dry that real quick before we start gluing. The splatter takes a little bit longer to dry because it's got so much water in it. All right. I think that is dry. There's a little bit of glue in here that we could use. Just open this one up. All right. So we're going to use our E6000 and we're going to just put a little bit of glue on our letters. We don't need very much. You're putting it on like lipstick, running it right along the edge of that wood. We don't want big globs because those will seep out from underneath of our project. Okay. So we have sweet. As honey. This glue has a hole in the side, so the glue is getting all over my fingers. Honey, honey. I won't sing to you. All right. There we go. Cute. I love the black on the and the yellow together. It really pops. Okay. And we've got our little piece here. So let's do our little beehive. I have to grab a different glue because this one is just going everywhere. There's a hole in the side of it. And it's just oozing all over. That one needs to go in the trash. She's empty. Empty, empty. Let's see. Here's this glue. We'll just finish out with this one. All right. We got our little door here for little bees to get in and out. And then our little home, sweet home. It's going to go over here. The lines are etched in there, so you can just line that right up. Pretty far away again. Okay, there we go. And then our little banner. And the top of our jar. Okay, well, let's see where the rest of these pieces go. Okay. Oh, I just looked at it. Now I don't remember. Where did that? There it goes. Okay. Our little honey stick's going to go over here on our honey jar. I do not know that I love that that is the exact same color as that. So we may need to fix that. Let's put these two little bees down. One bee. Two bees. Then we've got flowers. So we'll just kind of add these around. Should we put this other one? Where is it on the picture? It is there. Okay. I think we'll put it maybe over here. Kind of on that side because we're going to put this little guy over here. Looks like his little butt fell off, so we'll fix him here in a second. This piece is very fragile. I could have recut it, but I didn't. Since it was just for me, I wasn't concerned about it, but it did get really thin over there. Okay, and then his little wings. They gotta go like this. Perfect. And our little honey stick, we're just gonna put it on there. It'll be fine. It's gonna go about there. Okay, let's put the lid on this. And get the glue off of our fingers, hopefully. And then we're going to take our tiny little liner brush here and add our little details. I need some little yellow stripes on this little guy. So I'm just going to come in between here and just give us a little swipe of yellow. We'll touch up the black again. I should have probably put yellow down before I glued him down. It's all good. Okay. We need yellow centers for these flowers. So we'll just take this brush and give these guys just some little yellow middles. And then I'm going to take a little bit of white and add just a few little white highlights. So I just like to do swoops and swooshes and little bits of dots. You don't have to do very much. Just a few little details will kind of help draw your eye around and just make it look a little more interesting. Kind of be careful because that E6000 does have that dry time on it. So things might move a little bit on you. So just be aware of that. I know what we could do for this little piece here. We could add some honey to it and that'll make it kind of pop. I'm going to put just a little bit of yellow. Just kind of dripping on this side here. That'll kind of separate those two browns for me. All right, let's add just a few little dots here on our bee's head and maybe a little swipe of black on the wings. I could use a smaller brush, but I've got this one in my hand, so we're just going with it. Okay, what do we think? I feel like this over here is pretty bland and boring. So we're going to do a few little swipes of yellow in here. I don't have to do very many, but I think just a few will kind of pull some of that color over. Just give us a little more interest over here. Again, one of those things I probably should have done before I glued the words down, but it's all good. I really wasn't noticing that I didn't love the way that looked until afterwards. Okay, let's give everything a quick dry. think my flower dots need some work. There we go. That's better. Okay, while this is drying, I do want to just remind you about our craft kit of the month box. So we're going to try something here. Oh, there it is. So this is our craft kit of the month box. We just released it. It is $30 right now. It's an introductory price, very special introductory price. Only available for a limited time. The price will be going up. Inside your box, you're going to get your kit. So your wood kit, you're going to get all the paint that you need, any tools that you need. So if you need a special brush or a sponge pouncer or anything like that, we're going to include that in the box as well. Of course, you're going to get your glue and a makeup sponge to complete your project with. You're going to get step-by-step written directions along with a code for you to use for a video. So you can just pull that video up. As soon as you get your box, you can pull the video up and start painting and creating. Which is why we are doing that. So you don't have to wait on us. In the past, we have done kits where we've painted them together. And a lot of times people don't show up to paint them together anyway because we all have different schedules and different lives. And so I don't want you to have to wait on me to complete your project. So we're going to give you a video where you can go and find that video directly. These kits will be exclusive to this box. They will not be released on the website for at least a year. And like I said, it's only $30. You are going to get a 20% off coupon as well. So it's a great, great deal, an awesome value. So go check that out. It is on our website, and there are lots of links around on Facebook and stuff where you can find that. I'm going to pull you back up over here. Hello. All right. Let's see. I was just thinking this could use a little bow on this little honey stick. I don't think I have a piece right now that will go in it, so it's fine. Let's look at our window. So that piece wasn't glued. We didn't need that piece. It was an extra piece. Here's our little window. It's pretty steady right now. I do need to let it lay flat for a good 24 hours, but it's pretty stable right now. I will say this is pretty hefty on the bottom, so there doesn't come with a stand or anything, but you're going to be able to just stand it up on a table. I would set it somewhere where the back is going to be up against something, but it doesn't really have to lean. It's going to stand pretty well. This table has lots of paint on it, and it is not the most steady flat table because of all the paint buildup, but this sits on here just fine because it's pretty hefty from all those pieces we glued down there at the bottom. And then all you're going to do for this interchangeable is we're going to slide this in that little shelf that we created. It just slides right in and out. And then this piece here is going to plop right down inside of your window. And there's your little window interchangeable piece. So when you get your interchangeables, you're going to get a little piece that's going to slide in and out right there. And it's kind of tight right now, but the glue's still damp, so that's part of the issue. It's going to slide in and out where those scallops are. And then you're going to get this little piece that sits right inside of your little window. So how stinking cute is that? I love it. I think it's adorable. And I can't wait to see all the different pieces that we're going to be able to carry for it. So just remember, we've got to let everything lay flat for 24 hours. I'm not going to leave these pieces in here because I don't want them to be glued into my window. But I'm going to let it all lay flat before I go and set it up. So I hope that you're having a good Tuesday. I hope you're staying safe and dry. If you need anything, feel free to reach out. Go grab your Sweet as Honey window kit on our website. And don't forget, we have our new kit sale. Everything in the new kit category is on sale through the end of today. So you can grab those there. Anyway, have a great day, and I'll talk to y'all real soon. Bye, y'all.